Well, righto. It's Thursday, ladies and gentlemen. We're coming late in August now. And I've got Loquacious Live, Davey Baby on with me tonight, the Alan Merritt. And we're waiting for Big Mike to come in. We're like the Cray brothers on here. There's triplets. No, what do you call is it a quad when there's four of you?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Mate. Is it?
Yeah, there's. And for those of you at home, don't adjust your sets. Tonight you're going to have two
quad had four, wasn't it?
with two with hair, eh?
Triplets for free, isn't it?
Triplets, that's it, yeah.
Four. Hence the
How
quad.
are you doing now? Are you? Al, I see you got stuck in the mud today, bruv. You got to be careful with that stuff.
I came home. I got home about 7. Jumped in the old shower. That's why I got my gym jams on. Because my feet were fucking black as the ace of spades.
He's the crack, mate. If you'd have seen it, as soon as his screen went blank, I went, he's gone down a fucking hole, that one. I knew it straight away. And of course, the first thing, Alan, you know what I mean, like most of us, saved the phone. His phone's gone straight in his pocket.
Yeah, I was more interested in saving me dog, so I put it straight in my pocket. It went straight in my skyrocket. I thought, well, fuck that. And next thing, I'm in me socks in the mud. And I'm yanking like fuck to try and get my boot out.
Easy. This is an adult show. There could be children watching. Yanking it.
I'm yanking like buggery to try and get my boot out of the mud. And I had to put both hands on it to yank it out.
Easy, ladies. Now at home, I'm telling you, he's talking about his boot that got stuck in the mud. He's not talking about something else, all right? Now, there's not many of us that can get both hands around it, I can tell you. But,
I'll tell you, it was like quicksand, it was.
It's lovely to see you.
I'm just sharing your live out. I'm just sharing your live out.
Oh, man, I'll tell you what, I'm glad it didn't film it all, because it would have been, I don't know, the air was blue.
I can imagine the ladies at home sort of salivating at the moment, listening to Alan's memoirs.
I must have made Dave's day. He must have been pissed himself.
Mate, I just thought, can you imagine the safety officer phoning 999 out in the mud going, it's a safety officer, yeah. Can you get the lifeboat out? I'm stuck in the mud.
And he's been telling us for 2 weeks with his videos not to go out in that bit of time.
Yeah, look at those fucking idiots right out there. Do you know what?
Yeah.
I'm going to have a go myself.
The actual lifeboat, the coxswain turned around and said to me for the lifeboat station, he said, do you know what? He said, if I went out there, did similar type of thing to what I did, but if he went right out really when the tide goes out, he said, if he got stuck in that quicksand type of stuff, he said, he'd wriggle himself into it. He said, because he would too fucking be embarrassed to be rescued by his own crew.
The crack.
Because they never believe it. I would never be able to face them again.
I would have waited until he got to about there. Maybe about, I don't know, possibly there.
Yeah. Right, for everyone that's out there watching, I have put the link up this week for the show in the YouTube chat room and in the Facebook chat room and in the Wake Up UK chat room. So if any of you out there want to come and join the show tonight, we're going to be talking about a few topical things. I guess we don't really rehearse things on this show. It just is what it is. We come in here to talk about the state of our country. Well, it's not the country in actual fact, it's the people. The country, the land's never really changed. It's the people that we have that we're allowing to get away with blue murder that are causing all of this quite a bit of sadness, really. We've got 9-year-old girls being shot dead in this country now. And I've got to be honest, growing up, I never, ever thought I'd see days like this. I never, ever, in my wildest imagination, thought that I'd ever hear 9-year-old girl being shot in her house, you know? It's madness.
Well, it wasn't too long ago, mate, that Reece Jones, the little boy, they did a documentary on him, didn't they? The little boy Blue. Everton supporter, remember? He's coming home from football practice, bless his little cotton socks. I think he was only 11 at the time.
I just don't get it. And you know, we've all got, like you said last night on your show, everyone's got their head down, everyone's working, everyone's trying to sort of pay their mortgages and doing all these other bits and bobs. But we're just through that. We're not paying attention. We're not realizing. And the dichotomy is this can affect anybody. This Mike's really trying to get into the show tonight. Come on, Mikey, keep trying. You'll get there. It can affect any of us. It could be me walking down the road tomorrow, could get shot dead. It could be you or Alan. It could be anyone in the chat room. It could be anyone watching this show tonight. And here's the thing. If it does happen to you, where are you going to go to get remedy and justice so that these things don't happen again. That's not available no more. That's not on the table anymore at all in this country.
They've been saying it for every time it happens, and it light a candle. We must learn by our mistakes. The same old lines are trotted out. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but nothing ever gets done.
We believe it.
They have shootouts in London quite regular, Dave.
Sorry,
I know. I mean, I grew up there, so I know.
Mitcham, you'd think, was a nice little place, and there's a market in Mitcham.
Shit now, mate.
And they're marketing there. And my mate was saying to me, he was in Mitcham one day, and the Caribbean guys, gangs or whatever it were shooting at each other across the market stalls.
Yeah,
and he went into the chippy not to buy balls and chips, but to try and get out of the way.
I can remember my Michael on where was he? He was in Essex Road, and he was about 15 at the time, and kids chased him into a laundrette. Luckily, me and Lisa was in a hotel next door. We was on Upper Street in Islington. Dead busy street, Upper Street is, you know what I mean? It wasn't Upper Street, it was Essex Road, funny enough. And we was in a hotel next door having a few drinks and started to eat bits and bobs. And a woman come running in from the lobby, one of the reception staff, and said, "Your Michael's been chased into the laundrette 4 doors down with kids with fucking hammers and the D-locks for the bikes."
Yeah.
Because he's from the Cali, which is slightly different, literally just a slightly different postcode.
I can remember my Michael on.
Here he goes. He's in. Look, bit of feedback. Here we go. We'll have all the bollocks now.
It's like Miami Vice has just turned up, and he looked lovely, doesn't he?
What's that deck chair doing for a fucking cover now, Mike?
He's on Upper Street in Islington.
Just the frame on the beach.
But that's what it used to be. It used to be hammers. They used to use hammers as weapons to, bash people with hammers.
Yeah.
And you lost your hair. Guns and knives.
He runs straight out the back of this gaff. But if these kids have got, if you start hitting people over the head with D-locks off of bikes and ball hammers, you know what I mean, and claw hammers, you're probably going to. You're going to give them brain damage at best and kill them at worst. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and this is all by design, by the way. Sorry, Mark, I'm just cutting your head off with the old Jesus Jones, but a rather large one up. This is all by design. It's a breakdown of people. And the thing is, we've been so desensitized. I'll never forget when that copper got murdered on the bridge at Westminster and his boss sat in his car, locked himself in the car so he didn't get in the harm's way. There was TV and radio, and this radio interview, he walked past this old boy and he interviewed him. And the words that come out of this old boy's mouth really haunted me, because he said, "It's such a shame that it's gone on." He said, "But we as Londoners have come to accept it."
Yeah.
And I'm like,
yeah, well, didn't Khan say a year or two ago, I think during the pandemic or just before it, when all that malarkey started, didn't Khan come out one day and say it's all part and parcel of living in a big city?
Well, no, it's not, and that's the thing. It's not.
I'll tell you what, when they got that, what was his name? Julia Allegari, whatever his name was, in America, in New York, when he rocked up.
The New York mayor.
Yeah, when he rocked up, mate, I can remember going to New York before that. It was literally, I mean, part of the Bronx is New York, but the whole place was like the fucking Bronx. When he rocked up, mate, I'll tell you what, the next time I went out was about 2 years later, and there was old Bill everywhere, mate, patrolling, parked up.
Rudy Giuliani was a good man.
That was the fella. Maybe we need someone like him. Remember we had that. Didn't we have over here that fella? I'm sure he was Manchester or Liverpool. Didn't we have that geezer RoboCop? Remember him?
No, I see the film though.
No, we had a geezer, didn't we? We had a fellow in one of the police forces. It was Manchester or Liverpool. It was up them in somewhere, and they called him RoboCop because he was fucking taking no prisoners, and they elbowed him.
No, we got a copper in England called Laptop because he's a small PC.
Oh,
He's only about this tall, size of Ronnie Corbett, and they call him Small PC. Michael, good evening, darling. How are we, Houston?
It's hard
The
to
thing
say.
is, when they do fancy having a go at somebody who's completely defenceless, like they've done Piers Corbyn, I think it was yesterday or the day before. They done Piers Corbyn the day before yesterday, nicked his car keys off of him, wouldn't give him his car keys back, all licensed, all taxed, everything. And there was a lady at a demo. You know these ones for the stop the who are they? The drag queens doing the pantomimes at the various libraries and all that. There was one of those demos going on. They'd been nicking the Antifa ones up until the last week, and then no Antifa turned up yesterday. It was just Piers Corbyn's lot. It's because the old Bill's bored. Oh, we'll nick a couple of them instead then.
Yeah, they like Piers Corbyn.
Yeah, don't they?
I think somebody said fuck off. That was it, Nick.
Let's bring Michael in. I mean, he's tried 5 times to get into this show tonight, and that's dedication. That is, Michael. Lovely to see you, dog.
I've got a really fast, expensive computer, and it won't log on. It just doesn't like this site. It takes me forever to get on it. It just won't come on, and eventually I have to sort of go around the houses to do it. But I got there in the end. Anyway, and we're seeing you tomorrow, dear, aren't we?
Yes, you are. I'm coming.
You can put your little motor in my backyard.
See, another one doing the innuendos tonight, Alan. He's as bad as you.
Yeah, I'm not alone.
You're in good company, you pair. Good company.
Well, as long as you're on here, you're never alone.
No, that's very true.
Mikey, I'm coming down next week. Hopefully, we can go out for a meal, the 4 of us.
Next week?
Yeah.
What day next week?
I don't know. I'm going to try and work it so I'll either come midweek so I'll get the weekend in. So we can either go out Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, or whatever's easy for you guys.
Wednesday, Thursday, Friday I can't do.
He's off to Wales.
On holiday.
Cornwall.
Going to Cornwall.
He's going down by here, my lover.
I am. I'm going to
He's going down to Matty's country.
Sorry?
Is that where Matt lives? It's beautiful down there.
Matt lives down there.
Also, my friend Jeff Rowe and his friend Denzel Pemberby. I loved it. I made him laugh so much at one of his gigs. He told me to shut up because he was crying with laughter. And he went to me, "Oh, you bastards, shut up!" I had to get out because I was laughing so mad. I mean, what a comedian! And he was honest.
That's actually quite good, Dave.
I'm telling you something now. For the record of it. Denzel. Yeah, no, I love Jeff Rowe, and for all the
it's really, really good. I tell you what, Dave missed that because he went out and made a cup of tea. He should have done it before he got on the show.
No, some of us don't just fuck about in mud all day, Al. You know what I mean?
He's got stuck in the mud today.
I would have thought you'd have fucking grown out of all that.
He was accosted by a load of moles.
60 fucking 8.
Yeah.
Well, you were accosted by moles. You were accosted by moles.
I've gone from moles to mudding it in the old sea. I went to look at what we were doing in the pit they were digging out for this lifeboat station, and I got stuck in the mud. And I had to
wash. You need a wash.
I've got out of the shower.
He was in there. Alan told me earlier in confidence that he's trying out a new line of shampoo, and the shampoo's called Shoulders.
Wash and go.
It's gone. It's gone. Do you know, in the 60s, my mate was in Hollesley Bay, Nick. And do you know what they had them doing? They had to fill in the wash. That's what they did. They had to take a load of, they reclaim the ground of the wash. That's what they were doing.
Really?
Yeah, day after day, yeah. In Borstal. There was an old Borstal, remember Borstals? They've got rid of them now.
Talking about Borstals, talking about Borstals, and you're talking about crime with the knives and the hammers and now the guns and everything else. In the old days in Borstal, do you remember the old cue balls or the billiard balls and the sock? I think it was in Scum.
Yeah, Ray Winston. Yeah, well, that's what used to happen in there. They designed all kinds of stuff.
I know it did. I know.
But
the other one was if you didn't pay up, they ironed your hands.
Yeah. I think they need to bring all this back. You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, I think they should bring Borstals back.
Eh?
I think they should bring ball stools
Of course
back and
they
put them on the
should.
ship so they can dig them out.
Yeah.
Like everybody else did. I mean,
Get them making some fucking bed blocks and the rest of it. You know what I mean?
unbelievable.
Matches put in, washed and gone.
Instead of head and shoulders for bald men, you've just got shoulders. It's quite handy.
They're banged up for 23 hours a day in these YOIs. You know what I mean? Playing fucking PlayStations and Xboxes.
I kind of get what you're saying, but I've got a lot of mates that was in boys' institutions, and they were sexualized. They were sexualized by the people that were supposed to be keeping them safe. So that don't really truck with me. But anyway, it is what
it's your. Did you do? Were you going to do a talk last week, or did you do something? Was it Manchester? We go
this Saturday.
Yeah. In Manchester.
Yeah, I'm going to Peterborough tomorrow to pick Sue Peak up, an ex-beach jump survivor as well.
We know Sue.
And you know Sue. So I'm picking her up from Peterborough. I think 1:39 a train gets in. There's a couple of hours drive for me from here to get her. I'm going to bring her here. She's going to stay here. And on Saturday, we're going to Manchester Bar, train from Grimsby. And then she came back here. She was desperate to come to Manchester. She said, I really want to go out to Manchester because there are a lot of the Mancunians, if that's the right thing to say, that are great campaigners. You know, your Johnny Lawrence's, your Rita Ricketts, your Mac Daves, and Jimmy Robinson, and all of them. They're all based up there. And there's some great people up there. Katie Jane always seems to appear there. You've got Lee Garrett sometimes appears up there. There's some great people up that end of the country that are brilliant campaigners. Nothing but absolute respect for them.
Yeah.
It's all good. Right, let's start up a little topic tonight. I'm going to ask Michael because he was last in. What's your thoughts, Michael, on what's happening this week with this 9-year-old girl being shot dead in her own, mate?
That was a sigh.
Well, I have to say that I think everything that could be said about this has been said. But from a layman's point, from our point of view, this never used to happen. 20 years ago, kids getting shot like that. That guy's running there, and you can hear the bang, bang, bang. Then about 30 seconds later, it's another bang. Then 30 seconds, it's another bang. Now that means that guy was deliberately. He was targeting people. He was looking for people to shoot. So he must have deliberately shot that little girl. I mean, you can't argue that he didn't, because I mean, I've seen people firing guns in aim, and it's bang, bang, bang. They're just shooting where they can, and not aiming. They're just shooting. This guy seems to be focused.
Did you see any of the video, Mike?
I saw that. I saw some of the. I saw the Audi, and I've seen the feet walking past, and I've seen all bits and bobs, but I've not seen anything clear.
The train was running across the screen.
The guy who shot the girl, he shot from a door that was trying to be shut.
That's right. Well, but you don't shoot. He shot twice. Then there was, as I said, there was a gap about 30 seconds, 25 seconds, and then there's another shot. So it's 4 shots he fired. Yeah. So that means he was targeting people. So this guy now this is why we should bring back the death penalty.
See, what I don't understand
is blind, Mike.
Yeah.
Right?
If he was shooting blind.
No, you wouldn't. Why would you be shooting blind? If you're shooting blind,
the lady who got shot was trying to shut the door, and he managed to get his hand through the door with the gun in it.
So it must have been just
why 2 shots, then another shot, then another shot?
Because he's just firing it. He's just pulling the trigger, mate. These people haven't got a clue what they're doing. They're not trained. They're not trained firearms specialists.
This guy. Well, all I can say is, I mean, she opened the door. He forced his way in. Bang, bang, and then a little while later, it's bang. Then a little while later on, it's bang.
Yeah.
He's aiming at something. He's actually aiming at something.
I bet he gets a manslaughter.
What was the motive for him being at that house?
I mean, well, the other guy is a prisoner. He's gone back. He's going to be arrested. He's going back to prison on life.
He's already in.
He was trying to escape in with a gun. He ran into the house to try and get away from him, didn't he? And he went in after.
One at a time.
Look what he did, though. He ran into somebody's house. There's a little girl in there. He doesn't try to protect the little girl. He doesn't even throw her on the floor or whatever. She's standing there and he gets shot. And
you shouldn't be bringing other people into it anyway. You shouldn't be running into other people's houses. If you want to shoot someone because you don't like them and that happens to be your fucking retarded way of sorting things out, go round their gaff and shoot them in their own gaff. If you've got a beef,
exactly. But that's why. I mean, that's why I don't understand. I don't understand. The criminal fraternity would have given this guy up like that. If he goes back in, then they get him. He goes in the nick. That guy's a dead man.
Dave,
they're going to assault him. But this is the argument now to bring back the death penalty. There is no deterrent. They put him in the lap of luxury, and then they go, oh well, you know, you've taken the lives away of a couple of kids. You give you 20 years, you're out in 10, and you're 16 years old. So you're out of 26.
Jesus Jones is bang on the money. They're gangster fucking wannabes, yeah.
Well, of course they are. But they think it's great to shoot and stab people because they're going to get 5-7 years. Well, we don't want to destroy their lives. Yeah. Meanwhile, they destroy their lives.
I'm pretty convinced that this fella is going to end up with a manslaughter for the little girl.
What I would like to say is
what I'd like to see premeditated.
If he's aimed at her, that's premeditated.
It is. It's look, the passion's running high. You can feel it because we're all very upset at what's gone on. What I'd like to say out there to anyone that's watching this show, whether it's your first time, second or third, whatever, if you're in the system, you work in the system, whether you work for a council, whether you work in the court system, whether you work for the police yourself, what you must understand is that what's happening now and what is coming for your families too.
Oh, yeah.
You will not escape this because you all have extended families. You might have uncles, cousins, brothers, sisters, grandfathers, grandmothers. They're all on the table now. So in the fact that you're not defending this country and you're not defending the people and keeping the rule of law means that there's a very strong chance that someone in your family will get caught up in this melee. And it's a very, very strong chance now. So I think it's now time for everyone in law enforcement and in the system to
become a lottery now, Dave.
It is, yeah, it is,
yeah. But well, there's something you're missing here. The police in Liverpool, have turned around and said, well, we've done raids this morning. We're cracking down on crime. Well, why aren't you cracking down on crime all the time? That's what you're for. Why aren't you raiding fucking houses every day and getting hold of these mothers and fucking banging them up? But
this is only happened for a couple of weeks. They're just paying lip service to the electorate. That's all. Of course.
It's a joke.
We are reactive, but never proactive.
But Merseyside Police, just one police force. Merseyside Police have got a notoriously bad record, whether it be from sexual abuse to murders to gang to drugs, you name it. I'm surprised Manchester hadn't been put in special measures for their dealings with crime in there. And there was, and I think Tinky's still fighting the case where Tinky was strip searched by 8 police officers in the Merseyside police cells, strip searched 8 men and not 1 woman. And I find that applaudable that these people who are public servants can do this, denigrate a woman to that extreme. Can you imagine what that girl went through?
It's disgusting.
Hang on a second, Dave, before we go. This is where it goes horribly wrong. The police, I've got worldwide coverage on this 9-year-old kid, Yeah. That's why they're doing what they did. If it was some insignificant little shit down in London who got shot, it would be over in a couple of days alone. But just blasted all over the place. Pretty little girl gunned down in a chase when the guy shoots her, and that's it. And the police are going, well, publicity here, we've got to do something. Otherwise, what have they done in the past? Nothing. Since they've been doing this, they've arrested 2 other people for other crimes of murder. Why have they waited until this has come up before they've gone after the other 2 people and arrested them for crimes of murder? They've got these. They know who these fuckers are, and they're doing nothing about it. The police are only interested in one thing: money and themselves and the power they wield against us.
And rainbows. They love a rainbow. Love the rainbow.
They love a dance, don't they?
On the side of the police van, it's the support Black Monthly. What about support the white monthly or the yellow monthly or the red monthly, whatever monthly? Why support the Chinese, support the Asians? But no, support the blacks. I mean, it's all about racism. It's about, and they're terrified of being caught up in being accused of being racist. Well, there's no such thing as racist when you shoot a little girl. There's no such thing when you're fucking buggering our white girls by a load of Pakistani scumbags, but the police are too shit scared to turn around and say that's
he's
exactly,
on. He's
that's
fucking
exactly
on
what
this
they are.
one.
I'm telling you, it's a fucking
Let's just go easy because we are streaming out to YouTube and I might get
He does get like that, is our Mikey.
Let me just finish.
It is annoying.
What's happening now is the Albanians are now bringing in droves of people saying, I've been trafficked. And that's why they're allowed to stay here, okay? The Albanians are driving them up, charging them $2,000 to drive them up to take them over and say, you'll be safe there. Just say you've been trafficked. That's all you've got to say, and you'll be a right to stay. In America and in New York, as we've all read, 5,000 people turned up in New York, a savior city. It's fine, that's great, that's what they wanted. And they're screaming, what are we going to do with 5,000 people? 5,000 people. We've got a fucking 105,000 people in this country, all living in accommodation that's not good enough for them. Why is it we have to bring these people in? They've got money on them, they've got valuables on them, and they keep all that. And meanwhile, we have to spend our money, our tax money, on these motherfuckers while they're living in a lap of luxury in hotels where some of our guys are sitting on the side of the street who fought for this country can't get a fucking bed for the night.
We got
Michael, Jesus Jones has just put in the chat. Hang on, Dave. Jesus Jones just put in the chat a similar type of thing to what the PCP girls have been trying to do in their campaign to stop the sexualisation of children as young as 3.
Yeah.
And that mentally class that was on the Jeremy Vine show is an absolute disgrace and should have been bloody. They cut Kimberly Usherwood off on that show and made Melanie Clark look out to be something, and she was almost for sexualising children.
But that's what they're doing in America. That's what they're doing in America. A 3-year-old, 4-year-old.
52 countries, Mikey.
Do you want to be a little girl or a little boy? That's what they're being asked at 3 or 4 years old.
Yeah.
I mean, I know lots of kids, boys that play with dolls. They turn out to be fucking thugs. It doesn't mean anything. When you're 3 or 4 years old, you play with dolls, you play whatever you can play with. That's how it was. And most of you two will play with yourselves. But that's something completely different. But the problem you've got here is that this country is turning into a refugee camp for scumbags. That's all it is. And the people who are supporting it, people like me and you pay their fucking money, are getting nothing out of it.
I've just seen a couple of comments from Carmen830. First of all, Don McRae's just put a message. You've got quite a few messages coming in through Loquacious Live on Facebook. We can't stick those on this screen at the moment because Matt hasn't sorted out how to do that. But we will start pinning your post for them at some point. Not tonight. Don McRae's just said the police have lost control of the streets. The courts ain't worth a wank.
No, he's absolutely bang on.
West, and we need to take back control, which is right.
Yeah, well said,
I've seen Carmen830 put up a few comments, right? And his latest one's up there now pinned. And it says they've been coming via the channel for the last 4 years. I don't know where you've been, mate, but they've been coming a lot fucking longer than the last 4 years. I'm on the South Coast, trust me. Mike's on the South Coast. Mike will tell you it's been a lot longer than 4 years. It's been televised and it's been put on social media a lot more over the last 4 years. I'll give you that one. They've been coming for at least a decade and a bit over the channel.
And longer. How many times they've been coming
to me, Mike, just a second, mate. Yeah. Now, I was in Kenya. Think about this for a minute. I was in Kenya in 2007, 2008. I was out there doing some work, and I was out there during the Kenyan election riots when they were burning people in churches who were in church. They were throwing diesel and petrol in there and setting fire to people in churches. I'm talking 40, 50, some 100 plus people in churches. They were setting fire to great big tractor tires in the streets. I was out in and amongst all that. It was a fucking nightmare out there. Trust me, the problems that we've got at the moment are home fucking grown. When these people start, if they do start, and I pray, and I'm not religious by any stretch of the fucking imagination, but if there is a God, I pray to him that this fucking doesn't come to us, that this doesn't happen on our streets. What I've seen. I've not just seen it in Kenya, I've seen it in a lot of other places in Africa, a lot of places in Asia. These people are fucking ruthless. Trust me, they are fucking ruthless. And if and when they do start, you will fucking know about it.
It's already started. It's been started for years. They blame the whites, the racist whites. It's not. We're not racists. It's the people who call us racists who are racists. That a lot of black people I know. And my partner's black. You know, she's Jamaican. Well, she's born here, but she's Jamaican descent. Yeah. She's here. She's got no time for black people who want to denigrate this country. She thinks they're a disgrace.
Unfortunately, Mike, it doesn't matter which section of society you talk about, and even from the people who are coming over from Dover, over the channel, right? Doesn't matter which section of society you talk about. There's good and bad everywhere. Everywhere.
Oh, yeah.
The point I'm making, I've got no problem with people come to this country at all. If they come here illegally, put their case and say, right, you're going to go to a place, we're going to sort you out. The trouble is, it takes so long, it takes years. It takes years and years. And by the time they get around to doing it, they've disappeared in the cosmos.
Yeah, cool.
They settled here. How can you throw them out after that? You can't. I mean, that'd be awful. But there are people coming to this country.
Wait until they start building communities, mate. Wait until they start building communities.
But that's what they did. That's where the governments all went wrong in the 50s. When all the black people, like the Windrush lot, which is a load of nonsense. The Windrush was a recruitment ship that went to the West Indies to make some money. And then they came in. When they turned up in the 1950s, they landed. The British government didn't even know they were coming. And they're called, oh my God, this is the Windrush Society. That's not what happened. That's the reality of a Windrush. Windrush was a troop ship. Anyway, getting back to the plot, if you like. As far as the people come to this country right now, is they don't belong here. They've got no reason to be here. There's nothing that those people are bringing of any value to this country. They should be sent home. That's it.
Shani Kylie's just put up a comment on it in here. I'm going to read it out to you because I can't pin it. Shani Kylie just said she was because Shani Kylie's in, she's not in Bode, she's further over, she's by me. She's just south of Islington anyway. Shani Kylie was in a taxi the other day with a Somalian taxi driver, and the driver told her about 4 months ago, it wasn't the other day, 4 months ago, I tell a lie, we were riding and going to take, we are riding and we are going to take, we are rising, I think she means to say, and we are going to take what is ours. This is in London. And he came in via his Finnish wife. That's how in the UK.
Well, I tell you the reality of that is that they will get what they want, and us, the indigenous population, will be shafted.
Yeah.
Yeah. The only way to do this is to I'd suspend the police and put
that's already happening. That's already happening, mate. In London, it has happened.
Put the army on the street and
hang on a minute. Go on, Mike. Suspend the police and what?
Suspend the police and put the army on the street. And
we haven't fucking got an army.
What have we got then? We've got enough people on there to get on the streets to round up the fuckers that are causing the problems and put
them in a place. Do you know how many British forces we've got now?
So it's just under 80,000.
72,000 forces we've got.
That's army.
They ain't going to stick fucking generals on the street. No, they can stick medics on the street. Take all that out. That
doesn't count the Navy and the Air Force and everything else. That's 72,000 soldiers.
Oh, you're going to have the rock apes on there, the fucking RAF. What are they going to do? Patrol the fucking airports?
No.
Have you seen the state of our forces now, Mike?
I know it's not good. The thing is, they put
fucking it all... not good, mate. They make the fucking police look like fucking professionals.
Well, hang on a sec, because they're led by a load of fucking compassionate sweeties.
Because it's gone the same way. Listen, when I was in the forces, Mike, two men could not sit on a fucking bed without one of you at least having a foot on the floor.
Well, exactly. Well, I know that for a fact. I know it's absolutely true. What I'm saying to you is, we're not. It's like the police. The police and the forces are not run by generals and everybody else. They're run by social workers. That's what it is. They're more interested in keeping to the gender equality. Yeah. You know, and that's what they're more interested in.
We've got high-ranking officers, mate, walking around in fucking skirts. You know, that's the fucking facts about it, mate.
Now we're going to send. These are the ones we're going to send to fight the Russians.
Oh, you fucking can you, mate? Well, you'll kill the Russians because they'll all die of fucking laughter.
Well, they're dying in droves anyway because they're dying of fucking alcoholic poisoning. They're so pissed most of the time. That's
another thing they've done with the British Armed Forces. They've got rid of all the fucking nappies. You've now got squaddies that are drinking. We know. Me and Clive have done programs on it. We even though we're veterans, we're still connected to our battalions and people who are currently serving. We know exactly what fucking goes on there. And now you've got squaddies that are drinking on their own in their rooms. It's gone through the fucking roof.
There's no camaraderie. They've closed most of the nappies down, haven't they?
Sorry?
They've closed most of is it the naffy? The
nappies have gone. The nappies went fucking years ago. They gave it to Booker's Cash and fucking Carry.
Check this comment out. Has King Richard gone up and gone to bed? I bet he's still smiling.
Matt's on
that smile. You've got to have a smile.
I'm going to say, you were waiting. What were you doing outside there on your own? Come to think of it.
Me, I was just chewing on a cake.
Okay. Well, we'll give you the benefit of the doubt.
I was hungry today.
Anyway,
moving on. Next story we're going to chat about is coming up 20 to 10 is the gentleman that was stabbed to death in his wheelchair this week.
Mr. O'Hallahan.
Yeah. I mean, when's this going to stop? Are we going to stop it?
It's the only way it's going to get stopped, mate, because the old Bill ain't going to do it. And I'm telling you now, for you to get, you're talking about martial law, Dave, to get the armed forces on the street. To get martial law, your chief of police has to then go to the Home Secretary and declare that he's lost control. Can you see someone declaring that they've lost control?
They've lost control.
Only if it
you see them coming on TV and declaring it.
Why don't they rearm put all the vets on the street, like the real soldiers, the right professionals who know how to handle people?
Because we fucking wipe the floor with people. That's why.
Exactly.
Dave, let me ask you a question, David. David Mike. This is for David Mike. Oh, David's gone again. Have you seen? What do you make of all this? Where they're saying that?
Turning the camera off. I'm still here. I can listen and talk to you.
What do you think about all this? About they involve these illegals in to part of a European army, and they're going to use them.
Fucking bollocks! I've never.
And I keep seeing it. People are putting it in the chat, even tonight, about these illegals are coming over here, and mostly men of 18 to whatever, and they're going to be the new police. And when we start kicking off and there's an uprising, they're going to put them against us.
Right. Let's
get and there's a lot of people going around talking about a European army invading our shores.
Let's stick to fucking facts and not fucking fairy tales. All right. Let's stick to fucking facts. Right. The British Armed Forces.
I just know. I said, what do you make of all this? On
the 1st of January.
Let other people speak as well, Dave. What do you think? I said, what do you think? Or when people are going on about this, the reason why they're allowing all of these people to come over, mainly single men in their 18s to whatever the 25 or whatever the case might be, is when it does kick off in this country, if it does kick off, they will use them against us because they've got no allegiance.
Everyone will be fighting everyone, mate. It'll be a complete fucking free-for-all. That's what it'll be. And I'm telling you now, these however you want to put it, they're not coming here for what you've just said, to fucking take over and become the new fucking police force. They come in here to take what they fucking want. And that'll be trainers, your jewellery, your cars, your whatever you.
Yeah, but I'm not saying that, Dave. Other people are surmising that these young men that are coming in, a majority of them are young men, never females, never babies, never young kids, and everything like that. These are supposed to be, apparently, what the media tell us, people fleeing war-torn countries. It don't look like that to me, because all I see is guys dressed in designer jeans, designer trainers, iPhones, or, you know, they've all got phones. Every single one of them's got phones and is probably filming the whole lot. And the people are making these assumptions of the reason they are allowing them to come to this country is if we kick off. But yeah. I'm only just saying what other people are saying. I'm not I don't even think about it. And to me, it doesn't just make any sense at all.
What you've got to remember is it won't be the youngsters that who go on the street start fighting. It'll be us lot. It'll be like people like Dave, who values his fought for his country and values the country. And wants to see, all we want to see is law and order. That's all we want, and there isn't any. It's in America. They're going into shops, robbing shops. Right now in Oxford Street this week, that's exactly what happened. Load of black kids, and I looked, and they were all black kids running into shops, taking what they want and running out. Where were the police?
Well, in Worthing 3 days ago, they were all white local kids.
Where you are, yeah, exactly. They're all assets.
The same thing in Worthing, didn't they?
They're all assets.
Basically, what
at the end of the day, contempt breeds contempt, Mike, doesn't it? You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. At some point, somebody's going to get killed. Somebody's going to get killed, either defending what they've got, or somebody's going to get killed while these people are going to get stabbed or they're going to get beaten up. Then what happens? If that's a continuation of it, what does the government do then? What does the government do then? We haven't got a big enough police force. We're not capable of putting the army on the street. So what do? We've got a lawless
fucking mayhem, mate. You'll have mayhem.
Yeah, you've got anarchy.
Jesus, James, it's but Nottingham, McDonald's.
So basically, we're going to start thinking about arming ourselves.
That's why Dave has been doing his shows. And
are you dining out tonight, David?
That's why Dave and Mike's been doing these shows, your shows, and other people have been doing them. We've been doing them on the Loquacious Live to try and get people together, to come together, stop slagging each other off, put your fucking differences aside, whatever it is. You know what I mean? I don't always agree with Mike. Mike don't always agree with me, and vice versa with Dave and Alan. That's what it is, but we don't fall out of it. We just discuss it, and we either come to some middle ground, or we agree to disagree, and we move on to the next fucking subject.
The thing is, Dave, if we didn't have a disagreement and you don't get a consensus, it doesn't matter if you completely agree. You're arguing the points, and the points come out bit by bit by bit.
Exactly.
You can put these. Like I'm quite happy to say,
Mikey.
You're absolutely right. I think you're absolutely right. Who better than you than to tell us the state of the British Army at the moment?
But turning out, as we spoke about yesterday, turning out for demos for 6 hours isn't going to fix anything. It took us when we wanted to put, and we just got finished off last year in the House of Lords. Veterans, we wanted to. We've got a covenant for veterans. There is a veterans covenant, although it's very fucking lax, and it's whether your local borough wants to stick to the covenant or not. That it wasn't in law. Does that make sense? And veterans should be getting preferential. I don't agree with the preferential, myself, because I think everybody's the same when it comes to housing, medical, etc. And veterans should go up the list. That's what they were saying. And it took us 4 years to do that, but that was 4 years of constantly, day after fucking day, letters, legal, barristers, bang, bang, bang. We went out week after fucking week after week. You know what I mean? And do have to do it. Doing fucking 5-6 demos a year as a jolly, drinking fucking Tennent's and Carlsberg, singing Old Anzai at fucking Christmas time or whatever.
Waste of time.
It ain't. You're not going to do anything.
The thing is,
you've got to turn out and fucking stay out.
Hang on, Dave. I'll give you an instance exactly what. About 3 weeks ago, I was in London, okay, and I came down Whitehall, and I got to Downing Street, and I stood by, obviously, with the roadway, stood right at the gates there, and I said, "Why can't I come in?" And the guy said, "You're not allowed to." I said, "Why not?"
You've got a big fucking gun now. Fuck off.
Yeah, he said, I said, "This is a public right of way. There's nothing up there to say this is not a private property. This is a public street. It's not a private street. It's a public thoroughfare." He said, "No security issues." I said, "Do I look like a security issue? Do I look like I'm not going to do anything?" He said, "Well, somebody's trying to get out there." He said, "Would you mind moving?" I said, "I'm moving. I'm ready." I said, and there was people in the crowd going, get out of the road. What's the matter with you? You're a troublemaker. All you people are like that. I said, "I'm making a point." And the point I was making is I've got every right to stand in the middle of the fucking road and make a point. I've got every right to ask these guys, why can't I come up there? When I was a little boy, I did. And I stood outside me picture taking, like a lot of people did.
Yeah, you used to be out back in the day, didn't you?
Of course you could. You could walk up there and stand outside. But now, like security, Security from who? Why do they need protected? If they're doing such a good job, why do they need protected? If they're what we want, why do they need protected? Why do you need guys standing out with machine guns and pistols, okay, giving you like, I'm going to fucking beat the life out of you if you don't get out of the way? Are they protecting me? I'm 71 years old. What am I going to go there, wrestle them to the floor?
They were probably frightened of your jacket, Dave.
That's a lovely jacket. That I'll tell you what, when he wears it out enough.
Now give Mikey his due. Mikey's he's talking well tonight.
He is,
but that's the difficulty is, Mike, is when you're on your own, you know what I mean? And not being funny, behind those gates, you got what? I think there's a brick of about 8 or 10 of them, isn't there?
Yeah, a dozen of them, yeah.
You know what I mean? Something like that. And when you're on your own, there's not a lot you can do. When people turn up there, Alan saw it November the 5th. The old bill got pushed back. Well, you were there, Mike. Dave,
we were all there.
We were all there. And you
we were all on the same bus, putting fireworks down, and you all back.
The mistake they never made is kept fucking marching and sending them to fucking Scotland.
Yeah, but we need to get back to the poll tax in 1980. That's what we need to do. Go back to when we had the poll tax and let them feel what it felt like then. When the police were on the back foot and the crowd were absolutely murdering them. They absolutely killed. They were terrified.
Unfortunately, most of those people who came out for the poll tax were pensioners, weren't they? And they're no longer with us, mate.
Well, there you are.
Can you see this?
I know what Dave's going to say. He said, pull them bloody gates down at Downing Street.
Can you see?
Pictures before and after.
Right. So here you go, guys. For all of you around the country, around the world that's tuning in right now. This is Downing Street in approximately the 1970s, maybe early 80s, looking at the uniforms, etc. But
Can you enlarge that, David?
Eh?
Can you enlarge that screen so we can see that 150? Double click.
Only this way. No, it won't. It won't. But anyway, you can make it out. Here is. Let me get rid of that. Let me get rid of it. But that's Downing Street, okay? Probably circa late 70s, early 80s. There's no gates.
Margaret Thatcher put the gates up. Margaret Thatcher put the gates up.
Right, but you got to remember, you got to try this in with dates. The gates went up just after we joined the common market.
No, the actual reason she said they put it up was because of the IRA and the terrorism threat.
But see, that's where we get into like what David Icke talks about, problem, reaction, solution. And this is how they sneak their stuff in. Now, look, the gates at Downing Street, I can categorically tell everybody that's tuned in, are not to protect us. This protect them that are hiding behind them so that we, the people, can't hold them accountable. And that's
the thing is, Dave, why is it we got the House of Parliament, the home of democracy, but we can't get in there? They won't let us in. We can't go in. We have to have passes to be security vetted. Why is that then? They got a public gallery to watch the proceedings. You try and get in there.
Mikey, I think you're right. When you were talking about the Margaret Thatcher thing, I think you're when we talk about the Ring of Steel, because of the IRA, they put the coppers in like little sentry boxes, didn't they?
Yeah, stopping every car.
Yeah,
stops every car. It's bullshit.
And they called it the Marble Square of the City of London, didn't they? You couldn't go through that area without being stopped if you was in a low load or wrong. Go on, sorry, David.
Look at this. This just come into my mind. So we had the IRA kicking off. We had them blowing up Hyde Park. Servicemen and women would die, and horses were scattered all over the place. But when you look at the aftermath of that, you've got Martin McGuinness and you've got that Jerry Adams. They both become political people and representing.
You see that in the chat, Dave?
Yeah, Sinn Féin. So to me, that terrorism that was going on at the time, I would suggest that the British establishment were probably working hand in hand with that.
Because in the chat.
Oh yeah, we got well stitched up on it.
They blew up the car outside Parliament. Staged event so they could justify the Iron Gates and armed police.
There you go. That's Barry Wiggins. Barry's
there was a nasty one because Airey Neave was killed in one. They blew Airey Neave up.
Right, yeah, in the underground car park.
About as big a hero as you could find because he escaped from cold hits.
The problem, what I'm trying to say is, problem, reaction, solution is there's a thing coming to town called the IRA. They've blown things up. The government then put this all out through the media, and they're looking for a reaction from the people. The people are going, right, okay, this is not good. And then the government give the solutions, and then the people just fall for the dummy. There's no way that a terrorist cell, terrorist organisation would ever become political after the event, because it was after that the IRA kind of quietened off with all the blow-ins and explosions that they become political. You had Jerry Adams making political decisions. You had Martin McGuinness making political decisions.
Martin McGuinness was a bastard.
So to me, there's this handshake between the British establishment and the IRA, and a little deal was cut. Now, when Guy Fawkes was going to blow up Parliament, the House of Commons, wherever it was, he was going to blow up in St Mary's the Undercroft, he would have got away with that, and he would have done it. But it was the Spanish themselves that wanted a trade deal, and they was having these conflabs and that, and they said, oh, by the way, we think someone's going to blow up. We've got information. The British would never have known otherwise. It was the Spanish that gave the English the information that someone had intentions to blow that building up, which then put their noses in the air. So there's always this trade-off, and I don't think that's ever changed. I swear to God that the IRA and that political persuasion, and Thatcher at the time, and whoever was before her, that
David, in the same scenario, could you say the same about COVID?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Listen, if I was going to kill the people, let's say, for instance, I was a cunning individual, and if I was running this country and I decided that everything was overpopulated, the food was going to run out, we didn't have enough resources, I wouldn't bring guns and bullets out. I'd tamper your water. I'd sting your food supply, and I'd put aerosols in your fucking skies. So,
but you're getting to the point. This is exactly the point. The WEF, what we're going through right now is what they want: shortages, no petrol, the green agenda. You know, people losing their houses. You'll have to rent. You know, we'll take and bit by bit by bit. I said this last week. They're taking everything away from us. Bit by bit by bit, it's been eroded, and we are sitting there, eyes open, going, "What the fuck are we going to do about it?" And we're letting them do it anyway. And there's nothing we're doing about it. We'll sit there whinging and complaining, but we don't vote in people who will make a difference. We vote Conservative or vote fucking Labour.
That's a good point, Mike, because you could turn around and say Truss and Sunak are playing this World Economic Forum. Do you know, they could be playing this new agenda or part of this new agenda. All this about political, who's going to be the next prime minister, and it's a game.
Well, hang on. If it wasn't a game, why is it that the benefit of the country, the Conservative Party said there's not going to be? We're going to say right now it's going to be Liz Truss or Sunak, and that's it. Get on with running the fucking country. People are sitting there, shit scared and worried about what's going to happen when the cold weather's. The Conservative Party sitting there, and I vote Conservative. So I mean, I've got no hidden agenda here. There is nothing that they're doing right now to make people feel better.
A lot of people voted Conservative because they thought they were going to get Brexit, but they never got Brexit.
They're not giving us money. They're just giving us back and the money.
They're drip feeding you back the money you've paid in. That's all they're doing.
An average man, right, on paying a reasonable amount of money on his national insurance, right, will pay about 150,000 quid over his lifetime paying in. If he was to invest that in a pension plan, that would be worth about 600 grand. About 600,000 pounds. And what do we get for 600 grand a year? If you just work it out, even at 5%, 30 grand. What does a pensioner get? What does a pensioner get at the moment? 8, 9 grand. So we're being fucking ripped off big time by using money that they should have been invested wisely, and it hasn't been. There is no way that this government or any success, but previous governments are not guilty of ripping off the population because they've invested our money in the stuff we're not fucking interested in. What we're interested in is bringing up our kids. The most important thing on the world is children. That sustains the base of what we are. And what do people do? They go around fucking shooting them. They let them starve to death. They let them get buggered by scumbags. They get fucking whisked away from places and parties that went on in the 60s and still go on today. And that's still going on. And what are we doing about it? We sit and talk about it. Well, what do we actually do? Nothing.
Michael, you can say from day dot they've been taking taxes from the peasants that long ago to this very, very day. And where has politics got you since then to this very day?
Nowhere, but we all think these personalities like Boris Johnson, we think Tony Blair, we think Margaret Thatcher, or we think Winston Churchill. Winston Churchill was a real. Only thing about Winston Churchill was he was a fucking Englishman. If Winston Churchill was Prime Minister, do you really think Putin would be getting away with this now? He'd fucking make Trump look like a fucking amateur.
But he even had skeletons in the cupboard.
Of course he did. They all got skeletons in the cupboard. Of course they did. But the reality is, right now, is there is nobody in this country who can lead. What you got? Look what you got in Wales, Drakeford, the fucking Welsh Tapia. Look what you got in Scotland. You got fucking the fucking
Wolf.
Yeah, there's that fucking. It's just beyond contempt. And look what we got here. We got a rudderless government just going through the motions, and meanwhile, the country's fucking in a state of panic.
Well, I see Sunak said yesterday, Sunak, our possible one of the runners anyway, possible Prime Minister, but Sunak said what was the fear that was spread throughout the 2 years of COVID and all the pandemic malarkey, it was over the top. He's now decided it was too much.
Oh yeah, it was only Prime Minister. It was only the Chancellor Exchequer.
I know. He could have said it at the fucking time.
So that remark he's made is justified, is it? So it justifies what happened.
Well, listen, mate, they'll slag their whole family off for a fucking vote.
Yeah. What's he give a fuck for anyway? He doesn't care, does he?
No, of course he doesn't. He wants politics for one reason only, mate, and that's lolly.
The only way we will get any sort of change in this country is if we vote people into this country who are prepared to do what we want them to do, not what they think are best in the national interest. The fucking national interest right now is making sure this country doesn't go and freeze to death and affect itself. And meanwhile, they're in their big houses and doing what? Look at the walls they got around them. Fucking unbelievable.
Dave's showing us around his laptop. Look.
Yeah, there's we got Richie Sunak here. This is his house, and he's I think just to this side where my little cursor is. I think he's just putting up something like a £400,000 or £500,000 luxury swimming pool and a accommodation. Maybe Barrymore's going to go around for a few pool dips. I'm not too sure. Yeah. But these are our politicians. Look, there's a guy that runs Uruguay, I think, or it is a country like that. This guy runs around in some old Trabant. He gives most of the money he gets for running the country back to the people. And if he has to go to an hospital appointment, he sits and queues in A&E, their equivalent, like everybody else does. These are the people I want running my country. Not egotistical, not all about themselves. I want them thinking for others before they think about themselves. That's why
you've got to vote people. You can't just vote in the Conservatives again or vote in the Labour Party. What the fuck are the Labour Party going to do? What's KISS?
Yeah, but the monarchies, it's easy saying that, but you've got, listen, for too long we've had a two-tier system that doesn't work. It's fucking broken, mate. It's never worked.
Let me just hang on. Let me just call in order. Let me just make this point. Michael and you, David, and you, Alan, we're sitting in here and I've just sat back and seen the debate that's going on now within the political world of who's going to do this and who's going to do that. And that, the final point of that is that is politics. Get them all fighting amongst each other while we rape the fucking country. So until we stop having these debates about he's going to do this, she's going to do that, they're going to run this, and realise that they're the fucking problem, we won't get nowhere. We will not get nowhere.
Exactly. And that's the same thing with the people coming across the channel. You know, you can moan about it all day and you can debate of who they are and what they're going to do in the future. The only way you're going to stop it is to get rid of these showers. That and it's not just the politicians, it's the whole shooting match. The worst offenders of it all is the civil servants. You know what I mean?
Just put in, David.
500 grand.
Richie Sunak has just put in a 500 grand extension on his house. He's going to have a bowling alley, a swimming pool, also included. Not bad when half of Britain can't pay the gas bill. Also,
Well,
ministers in government, they get their gas bills paid. You do know that, don't you?
Yeah,
Of course I do. I see EDF have announced today that they're going to take 10% of their profits and give it back to their customers who are hard done by. Why don't you just take the fucking money off the price of the gas, mate? Just charge us the right price. Stop
Well, like I said the other day, one of our lady friends who does a big YouTube channel, big shout out to Queen of the North, she phoned up the energy supplier for the actual who supplies the grid, and she said to this guy, what do you get per month of these energy companies so that you can run your shebang, that everyone's got power? And he said, we get 2%. So given that, if you're paying £100 a month on your electricity, the grid's getting £2. If you're paying £300 a month for your electricity, the grid's getting £6. I want that just to sink in.
Is it important tomorrow? Isn't it the energy price cap tomorrow?
I don't know. I don't pay.
Friday is tomorrow is when the Energy Commission or whatever they're called turns around and says the price what we should be paying or what we should be paying. They're going to tell us what we should be paying.
1st of September, and it hits your mat. It will hit your mat and affect your bill from the 1st of October, and you get another one in January, and you'll get another one in April.
I just simply send them back all their mail, tell them no contract. I'm not interested.
I don't even fucking do that. I just stick it in the fucking bin now.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, see, the thing with the system, when they send out all their letters, it's actually paper terrorism because they're writing to a legal name which is dead anyway. And what they're doing is they want you fishing. They're waiting for you. It's like where you done with Mike, fishing and reeling them in. It's exactly the same as that. The council send out their letters. This is the council sending out their letters in the post for their yearly thing. And they're waiting. They're going like this. They're just bobbing their thing. And as soon as you open it up and start paying, they go, and they go, all right.
We've got another one.
Now, a couple of our lads this week have been in the courts, and the magistrates' courts have now ordered the council to prove their claim that they are legitimately right in what they're doing and allowed to ask people for council tax. Now, this is blistering news. The magistrates' courts have now told Malden and District Borough Council, you must provide the evidence that these people are asking for. And they've really got a problem because we're spreading this information like wildfire, and everybody, Herb and the Tijuana Brass, they're all sat home. They're all starting to pay attention to people like us now because they know that the mainstream's shafted them. And it's a big deal, right? We've got
some news, David, which you will be right up your street. Is that Charles Ernest turned around and just got a letter back from a court where he's been writing to him, and he's getting now. He's been arguing for his name being put in capitals, right? All these letters in capitals. He's saying that is not my birth name.
Born name, yeah.
Let me read a couple of things out because you've got 18 people in here watching. So, and it's nice. I like to see the chat join in because
mate, you got the floor.
That's what it's all about. So, Kaylee Shiley, she's just got a bit on the Isle of Man. The Isle of Man have borrowed 20 odd million. I would have thought it's a bit more than that from Britain, and have frozen the utility bills there at 22%. So, whatever happens tomorrow, they will not get an increase, and us on the mainland will pay for their subsidies. And Don McRae has just said, have you seen what's going on currently in India? They are burning their bills and they have stormed the energy firms.
Good.
You know what I mean?
We have to be proactive. We can't keep sitting back and taking this.
Yeah, we used to be.
Back. We need.
Well, I think we've touched on this, Dave, where we've talked about these protests and all very well us going out on the streets and doing what we do, even though we're going to one on Saturday. But it's not about going to these places, walking miles and miles around London and then having a piss up afterwards. It's got to be more. It's got to be more than just that. That's my opinion.
Right. So hang on a sec. Barry Wickens is just asking whether we've got a link to this magistrates' court stuff. Guys and girls, I don't know if you know. If none of you know your rights and you don't know how to stand your rights, don't know how to put notices together, there's a website called Peacekeepers. Okay. Go and find the Peacekeepers website. They're also on YouTube. We have got probably one of the finest brains in this country is a South African guy called Mark Horn. He is, I can't believe this man's knowledge, his wisdom, and how he's putting things together is so chilled out. He's like a laid out cucumber. He's doing some fabulous work. And it's the peacekeepers, it's that group and them people that have been and done this. And the magistrates' courts have now had to side with these people because they're giving them the law and they're not letting them wiggle out. And the magistrates' court have now told the council, no, you must do what you're being asked of. And we're now starting to see the judges and the magistrates, because they're knowing we can go after them now in their private capacities, and that they actually have
companies. Brad,
just said, David, on your topic that council tax is a one-sided contract for services which is imposed on the user.
It's a unilateral agreement. There is no contract. It's a unilateral agreement. For a contract to be binding, there needs to be two parties, a meeting of the minds, and two people need to put their mark.
Sharon, Nora's unjabbed, Dave, has just said, what you need to do, Dave, when we finish is pass these links over to Matt and we'll stick them on the page. Nora's unjabbed has just said, I so need the peacekeepers right now. I'll pay, I just need the help.
No, you don't have to pay. I'm going to share the page. I'm going to show you the link how to get to the peacekeepers website.
So it's going out the pages live as well, so that's good.
He's going to put some links up now, but I will get Matt to speak to Dave either after the show. I know it's late, so Matt might be wanting to call it a day. But by tomorrow, we will stick these links up everywhere.
Can I just say,
you go. You've got the peacekeepers.org.uk. What you do on there, you can do that. You can log in. It don't cost you nothing. You can do the course. It's free. And basically what it says here, this program has been designed to enlighten you of your inalienable rights and freedoms. No one's above the law and all are equal before the law. We have allowed those who administer to dictate to us, and it's time to take back our power. This page here, it teaches you all about equity, the mission, and you can do the course. And what it would do is when you get a bailiff or anybody write to you, you go through this process and it will show you structures of how you can go back to them to silence them. All right. This is the people that have put this together. Brian, Mark, Chrissy Morris, and all these others. I'll tip me out to you guys. They've actually sat down, and rather than just they've structured this, they've put it together in such a way that you pretty much will blow any of these courts, these police, these corporations out of the water. So this is a very valuable tool, Michael. Go ahead, my man.
I was just saying that as far as council tax is concerned, it's a contract. You say it's not a contract. However, they call it a contract. If they call it a contract, then they're in breach of contract. They must be in breach of contract because they're not supplying what
Well, David nailed on the head when he said it's a meeting of minds.
We are paying, I think we pay about 150, 180, £200 a year for the police. Okay. Well, when's the last time? I've never seen a police car in West Malling. I hardly saw one in where we were. I used to live with you, Dave. How long? No one. Nobody's got a police car.
No, Mike, you're missing it now. You've got to follow them and find them at the end of the rainbow.
Yeah, exactly.
Don't get a leprechaun there now. You get a policeman. I'm doing Beyonce. I'm Beyonce.
The three emergency services: police, ambulance, and fire. The only one you more or less guarantee to get is a fire engine. That's probably.
I bet it's an insult now to turn around and say there's fairies at the bottom of the garden.
Listen, you can get the police out for a burglary. You can get the police out for a burglary. You just have to ring them and say, whoever's come in and busted me ass, I'll blast them over the head, and I think they're dead on the floor. Then they'll be out in about 5 minutes. They actually might.
The whole force will be out.
Yeah, they'll all be out, and they're going to bring all their bailiff friends with them because they love the bailiffs. All they love. But after Bob White's case, they're not so keen on coming out with bailiffs no more because the judgment in Bob White's case said every man has the right, and a woman, before you girls start carrying on, has the right to defend their home and their property under castle doctrine. And that means if man is not coming into your house lawfully, if he doesn't have the law on his side, proper warrants, proper this, he has no authority to be there, and you can basically bash him over the head and do what you like. That's always been the case in this country.
Dave, just quickly listen, because Nora, Sharon is the lady's name. Nora's unjabbed.
He knows that.
Nora, she said, thank you. She'll check it out. She's already paid for templates from elsewhere, but they haven't worked. Listen, people, Dave Witcher, who's on here, and Mike, who's on here, they will tell you there's plenty of places where you can go and get the information for free.
Amen.
So do not be paying 20 quid, 30 quid, 50 quid, whatever people are charging. These people are just fucking grifters. And
Amen.
They will send you fucking anything for £1 note. Absolutely.
Yeah.
You're lucky if you get some fucking Greenfield stamps out of them.
Yeah,
You're not be paying grifters for it, because there's loads of people out there who know what they're doing. They're good at it. I haven't paid my fucking council tax for 8 years. Nothing's happened to me. I'm still here. I still fucking take my rubbish that goes away. I sort that out myself. And no one's threatened to fucking murder me.
You put it in somebody else's bin.
And I've not paid my electric now. I'm on my second quarter. So we're coming up, we're just over the 3 months mark. And they've got more chance of the fucking Pope giving them a foot massage than me paying that extortionate amount of money. Because all I ever am in life is fair. If you're fair with me, I'll be fair with you. And if you start taking the piss, trust me, I'll take it back. Don't fucking be frightened of these wankers. And that's all they are. Like Dave said, they're bullies with fucking paperwork. That's all they are.
Big time.
Well said, David.
Yeah, very well said, Dave Marseille. Probably your most loquacious and eloquent speech of this evening.
Don't start all this loquacious bollocks.
Yeah,
£40 for each template.
No, it's a con. There's quite a few out there, sadly, that have gone down that route. There's a guy called Debtless. There's a site called Debtless, and the people that run that, and Matrix Freedom as well, guys. If you're being approached by Matrix Freedom to invest, and they're telling you they're going to get
you, Dave. Actually, now that you're thinking about it, some of the groups that I'm associated with, there's some 1 or 2 good ones on there.
I helped a man and a woman in their 70s quite some time ago, 7 years ago, Manchester way. They were going to lose their house. Things were going on. We got that sorted, and they phoned up one day and asked me for my bank details. And I said, "Well, what do you want them for?" "Well, we want to put you." So I said, "No, I don't do that for that." Exactly. I'm Christ's boy.
David, there's a lot to be said for the 3 C's: no consent, no contract, and no comment.
There you go. Yeah, it's true. Also, look up my mate Ian Stewart. I know Ian very well. He's just done a fabulous podcast with Laura Nina yesterday. It's over 2 hours long. But basically what he does, he harps on about 4 superior statutes that come in prior to 1972 before the treason come on. That's the Coronation Oath Act. That's the Bill of Rights. And
Laura Nina was in the chat just now, Dave.
Yeah, Laura's fabulous. I've met Laura.
Yeah, she comes in our chat quite a bit.
Yeah, Laura's a hell of a woman, and in Kent, they're my tribe. I might not see them all the time. I've only met Laura once. I watch her all the time, but when we get together and we come to these evictions and stuff, your tribe. You get that vibration and feeling from them, and we're pretty lucky. We can spot wrong uns from miles away. I had a guy years ago that come up to the Royal Courts with me when I was mucking around with the masters up there. I took 40 people into Master Leslie's chambers, and people recorded him. I never did. And this guy there, a guy called Steve McDonald, my mate sussed him out straight away. He said, he's on Coronation Street, that character. And I went, he said to me, he's a copper. Anyway, it didn't bother me. And Steve come up to me about 10 minutes later, said, Dave, I've got to go. He said, I've got to go. I live in Milton Keynes. I've got to pick the kids up from school. I said, mate, lovely to see you. If you'd stayed, I'd bought you a beer in the pub. Never see him again to this day. And then when we actually did go into the pub, there was a guy there. As I walked in the door, directly opposite the courts, he stood up and shook me hand. He's got bike leathers on and his helmet's on the table. And he's gone, all right, Dave, I've been seeing you online. And when he come up to the bar, I went, would you like a drink? His name was Wayne. He said his name was Wayne. And he said, yeah.
Same car.
yeah, I said, because you're cycling, you're on your wheels, you best have a Coke and that. And I said, how long have you been in the job? And he went, is it that easy to spot? I went, kind of. I said, but my pecker's on, my radar's on at the moment. So I said, you've just go. Anyway, he stayed with us until we come home at about 11 o'clock at night. He was all right. I don't run from the old bit. I'm not interested in running from this bit. I want them on my side.
Exactly.
I want them to come. I want them to come home.
You're better off having them inside pissing out than outside pissing in, mate.
Well, look, here's the thing. Yeah, absolutely. Here's the thing. I've been talking what I've been talking for a long time, and I've actually got police now ringing me saying, Dave, will you help us not register our kids? And that was over a year ago. And I went, wow, really? And they went, yeah, when we've been watching people like you and we now know what's going on and we're not prepared to register our kids. And I'm like, yeah, all right, I'll help you. So we started helping, giving them information and telling them how to back the old authorities off. And then the next thing I'm getting calls saying, oh, we've just changed our gas and electric meters. And I'm like, wow. And this is serving police men and women.
Just a second, Dave.
I'm telling you.
There's some good people in the chat as per normal. I want to thank you all for your comments and everything. Shaney Kiley has said, because you named a couple of people just now, Dave. Now, listen, when it comes down to naming people, there's people who will name people. Dave don't mind dropping a name. I don't mind dropping a name. Alan doesn't, Mike doesn't, if they are fucking wankers and we know they're wankers. Don't be trying to talk other people into dropping names. And I'll tell you for why. Is because we're all fucking different and people handle the backlash differently. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't give a fuck who fucking messages me and phones me up and threatens me with fucking legal papers or whatever. I've had it fucking too many times. Crack on with it. But they're asking people to name and shame people who've done things. Listen, all you've got to do is DM us the names with the information of what they've done and how much they've charged. Yeah. That's all you've got to do. You can't just put people's names up with he said, she said, I said. Just DM us the information, who's charging what money, show us some evidence that they've charged you money, and we'll fucking name them. And eventually these people will fuck off.
Matrix Freedom, some guy called Ian has now got over £1 million in his bank accounts through Matrix Freedoms, through having that platform set up for the last 3 or 4 years. And to be honest, they ain't no better than the system, because the system shafts you every day. All these people that jump on this and want to charge people for information and that, you ain't no different from the system. And that's just how it is. And there are plenty of people out there that will help you freely. I've just helped a French woman this week battling a bailiff. This guy was ex-RAF, this bailiff guy called Andy, was ringing her up and telling her she was a worthless piece of shit and how he was going to come and kick her door in and, you know, boo-hoo, blow the door down. But in fact, he's backed off now because I think words got out and someone's had a word with him in his ear. And I told her, look, they can't break in for council tax. Forced entry for council tax can't happen. Why? Because it's a civil matter. And that's just how it is. Civil matter is civil. Criminal's criminal. Two different complete things. If you've murdered, raped, or pillaged, there ain't nothing you ain't going to do to stop the old bill coming and kicking the door down. And at that point, the old bill do have a right to come and detain you and ascertain the facts. But at the end of the day, before we finish up, guys, we're going to Laugh 10 tonight. We've got another 10 minutes. I actually think most and a lot of the old bill in this country now are starting to realise that something's seriously fucking wrong. And maybe we have to be big boys and girls and say, you know, come over to the good side. I've often said if people like me had an input into this system, we wouldn't be having coppers scraping on 26 grand a year. We'd have them on 60, 70, 80. They'd be going on fabulous holidays, because I don't want a top-down system. I want a bottom-up system. I want the fucking doctors and the nurses all having good livings, and then. And
that is why, Dave, you will see more and more of these people coming over. And the reason for that is the money, the salaries that you've just talked about for what they get, for what they do, which is basically they are putting their lives on the line when they go out there being stabbed or whatever. As we said earlier, it's coming to everybody. Even they're starting to get it.
Amen.
And you can't survive on that sort of money with the way things are. You know what I mean?
No. Well, my mate John's in Liverpool. He goes round with his mates and they pick up all the old tin cans like Diet Coke, beer cans. They take them, they crush them, and they weigh them in, and the money that they get, they take to food banks. And I think food banks are good in one respect, but very shameful for a country when you've got to go and stoop to that level. It must take a lot of guts to go into a food bank, by the way. But he was sat at a police day where the chief constable sat there with all his regalia on, and they're answering questions. There was council officials, because we know the two of them are very tightly linked. And John didn't take pleasure in this. But he said, whilst there was interviewers there, he said, Chief Constable, he said, you do realise that 6 of your officers of your constabulary go to the food bank. And he didn't know what to say. Wow. He literally took his breath away. So, look, make no mistake, the police out there, many of them, constables, whatever they are, officers, they're struggling. They're not managing to pay bills. And the thing with it, this is the reason why I think they go to food banks, is because let's say they're getting demands at the doorstep. And by the way, when these energy companies and the police can't pay their energy bills, the energy companies are going to start getting fake warrants, and they're going to be coming into your house, taking your gas and electric meters out. And then you won't be able to watch Dixon and Doc Green on your telly like you normally do. But the point is this. They will pay these demands at their doorstep because they can't have bad credit. If they've got county court judgments and stuff, they normally get kicked out of the job. A friend of mine about 15 years ago, I was putting some central heating in for him, and him and his missus were in the Metropolitan Police, and he was a Trojan in SO19, and he's a lovely fella. I'll get on really sweet with him. His dad was in the SAS and was to do with the Iraq siege in the army when that thing went on years ago, when the flames come up on the Iranian embassy and all that. Yeah. But anyway, he come round about 4 or 5 days before I was to start the job, and he went, "Here you go, there's your money." And I was like, I hadn't even started yet. And that was because I asked another one of my mates who was ex-CID in Maidstone what that was all about. And he said, "We can't have bad credit files." He said, "We lose our job." So make no mistakes, people, all around this world, around this country, the police in their own private capacities in their lives, they're struggling like Billy-O. But I don't want that. Me and most of us in here, we want a bottom-up system. We don't want nurses in the NHS being denigrated because they're working 60-hour shifts and they've put the wrong jab up someone's nostril instead of up their bum. We don't want the hierarchy up here screaming and shouting at them down there. We want these ones from below having the power and telling these up here what to fucking do. And that's where we need to be. Thomas Jefferson said, when the people fear their government, there is tyranny. But when the government fear their people, there is liberty.
That's right. Yeah. Can I just say something, though? This is the reason that the police are being badly paid. But what does that create? Corruption. I've
got a fella here that floats around town. I'll tell you about him quickly. I'm not going to give you his name, but I've got a fella here who floats around town. He's an alcoholic. He's an ex-Met, and he was on quite a big child protection unit. And he is absolutely suicidal, the fella. He has been for 6-7 months now. To the point at one time, he would come around my gaff. He lives not far from me. He knocked on my door. He said, "I'm going to sling myself off the pier." I phoned the police up and said, "Listen, I've got one of your lads here, no different than I would with a forces bloke or anybody, or male or female." And I phoned the police up. I said, "Listen, I've got one of your fellas here. He's retired. He served in child protection and obviously seen some horrific fucking things over his service. Yeah. And he said he's going to sling himself off the pier." Nothing we can do, they said. Nothing we can do. It took me 6 weeks to get him into a mental health unit, and they had him in there for 3 weeks, just over, and slung him out with some tablets.
That makes sense, does it? Look, that's what I want to do. I want to, with the people of this country, make this country great again. Yeah. Because we have some very great people in this country that are prepared to stand up and be counted. It's quite difficult to put your head above the parapet and become, I guess, in essence, a target. I don't ever believe I am.
I will be there, mate. I will be there. Don't worry.
Oh, hello. Hands up. Hand hot. Hand hot.
I call you Buzz Lightyear.
So that's what
that's all we'll fucking get hold of. It'd be that or a fucking pitchfork, wouldn't it?
Yeah, our intention should be to rise this country, to make it great again, and to stop all the nonsense that's going on, and that's the only reason we're here.
We need another party outside, a cross between Labour, Conservative, that will bring the country together. Both are the same lot, you're just going to get the same thing. So we need to consider an alternative. And
what about, Mike? What about getting rid of politics?
They won't.
What about getting rid of politics and just having the people?
What about an Alan Sugar party?
Alan Sugar Party!
Well, that's the way. It's the only way I can see it going at some point. You know what I mean? Is clearly the system doesn't work that we've had for so long now. It doesn't work in the modern world.
Yeah, wait a second. What you've got here is you've got Animal Farm. All men are equal, but some are more equal than others. I mean, it really comes down to that, and that's exactly what you get. You get people who will be voted in. They'll be wonderful, wonderful. They'll suddenly get the tracks of power. Then it will be like, in the interest of what we're put here to do, we're going to do this. And you're back to fucking square one.
Well, so actually, the thing is, everyone seems to be worried about if you got rid of the political system and you got rid of the legal system, that everything would turn into chaos. Absolutely not true at all. We've had the rule of law in this country, which kept us established and firmly on the map as a decent people for a good couple of thousand years. So it's already there. It is just sitting there waiting to be just stuck back up there, the rule of law, and everyone is to the rule of law, including all the coppers, all the court staff, all the people. We're all subject and that to it. And this country will come back to greatness again. There doesn't need to be anything radical happen. We just need to drain the fucking swamp.
Yeah, we need to get rid of this rule of fear.
There you go. Every time someone sat in their house, I've had a letter through Stanley, I've got to pay £1,000. It's paper terrorism.
Yeah, that's all it is.
We didn't come into this world like that.
That's how it is. They live on people being in fear. And
there you go.
If they come on sites like this, they got a place to find out and go. They don't have to be terrified. It's just a question of clicking onto whatever Loquacious Live and Friends or Dave, whatever, and asking for help, and you will be given help, and it will be free.
100%.
Amen.
I'm not going to mention a name, and if you're due, you're due. And we had a person who contacted us who were in a absolutely dire straits financially, and the person was told to go and do the inevitable, which is to claim what is rightfully due to you, which is some of your money back via the government, which they've done. It takes the edges off of things. There's people who are saying, I've got somebody in the chat now saying that going to a food bank is dehumanizing. Listen, there's nothing worse than being hungry. And however you can get hold of your food, get hold of it. If that means you have to walk into fucking Tesco's and walk out of it, fucking walk into Tesco's and walk out of it. Yeah. If I was there, I'd back you 100%. I'd fucking pay for it anyway. But yeah, don't be frightened of however you need to feed yourself. Fucking feed yourself. There's nothing wrong in how you get hold of your food, as long as you are not going to bed hungry and waking up hungry. That is the fucking number one.
We love you for that. We love you for that.
You've got to take care of yourselves. You know what I mean? Because trust me, no other fucker's going to. You've got to put yourselves first. When you're right, when your finances are right, when your belly's got fucking food in it, you can then go on and help your family, your kids, your missus, and everyone else. If your fucking head is all over the place, where you've got no fucking money coming in, you've got no fucking means of getting hold of any food, you have to work that out and do it and fucking eat a bit of humble pie and go down then. And it's not like the old days where you stood in fucking line at the dole office now. You sign a bit of, I think you do it online, I was told. You do it online, you fill a form in online, they send you backs you some money. How fucking bad's that?
Yeah. Right, guys and girls, we're up at 10:30. I've got stuff to do. Mikey, I will come over and see you in the morning, my friend. We're going for a big breakfast.
What time? 10?
What time's good for you, darling? I know you put your makeup on in the morning.
10
what time? Yeah, I shall leave here just after 9 and make my way over.
Mike, because you missed a show the other night. Listen, Alan's coming down, I think, Wednesday. He's bid fucking 50 quid on this.
What the fuck was that?
He said,
Oh no, sorry, I accidentally pressed the button because something popped up in my screen. What was that? What the hell was that, Dave?
Gremlin.
No, it's a sculpture and it's a 3D sculpture. It's got faces on all sides.
No,
Look,
no.
What the hell's that?
One of our Loquacious Live friends whittles these
Oh, that's
out.
nice.
Yeah, he whittles them out. I bought this one because I think he doesn't like selling them anyway. Cut a long story short, we're auctioning that. Alan's bid, I think, was it 50 or 150 out so far? So we're doing an auction. It's going to be sold Friday tomorrow. Funny enough.
He bet £1.50.
No, 150. I bid 40.
He's got more money than
I bid 40. Pauline's bid 50.
Oh, there you go. It's gone up. So anyway, that's getting auctioned for Paul Bogey, who does Heroin to Hero, ex-Scotch Guards, was an heroin addict for 13 years. He's on at the Fringe. I think it's his last day tomorrow at the Fringe, probably. Pretty close. Must be his last weekend. And the money's going to go to Paul Bogey to help the homeless.
Where's the site to bid on then?
Sorry,
but don't auction it off too early, David. Start at the beginning of the show, and by the end of the show, finish the auction. So we have a bar or something at the bottom of the screen saying the auction's going live.
Don't worry, I'll do it. Don't worry, I'll do it.
Let's go then. Let's go.
You did it too quick.
I'll see you tomorrow, Michael.
I'll see you tomorrow at 10.
Everyone in the Loquacious Live has said to you.
Before you go, are you definitely going to come down Wednesday?
Yeah, Alan's coming down. That's where I was going. Alan's coming down Wednesday, right? And we're going to come and meet up with you, probably West End somewhere or
pie mash.
A decent pie and mash shop. Yeah, we can't be fucking going one of these fucking Sussex or Kent gaffs that think they do pie and mash. Fuck.
Yeah, it's got to be Tarbridge Road then, isn't it?
Tarbridge Road. Exactly. So we'll
see you soon, boys.
We'll have a we'll have a bit of pie and mash and then go and paint the fucking town red and go absolutely fucking radio.